Hey, how you doing? John Kavakis here for Forum 43 in the Diecast Zone. I thought we'd try something a little bit different. You know, with COVID and everything, I've been acquiring some models here and there, but I haven't had time to unpack them. And I've always had this idea to do a video review. So I'd like to try one for you. Let me know how you like this. The first one we're going to take a look at, I got a few models here, so we'll do a couple in a row. But the first one I want to take a look at is Esval's excellent 1938 Humber Super Snipe. Now, this car has an interesting background. It's kind of a car before its time. What Humber did was they took the chassis of the Humber Snipe and put the engine of the Hummer Pullman in it. Now, the Pullman had a 4-inch longer chassis, was a heavier car, had a 4-liter engine. The Snipe came with a 3-liter engine, and so it was a big engine in a smaller car. So it's kind of a muscle car of its time. If you want to compare it to something in the 60s, it'd be a 65 GTO or something like that. If you want to look at something a little bit closer, more contemporary, it would be an Executive Express, something like a BMW M5 or a Mercedes E500 with the Porsche engine in it. They were marketed to bankers and realtors and businessmen, so it was kind of a drive-yourself, high-performance, high-content car. It was introduced in October of 1938. They only made it for about a year or so before the war started, and they had to change production. They did move over and start making staff cars, but an interesting development on the Humber Super Snipe was that they also made utility vehicles out of them. So it was a very early crossover, just a great background to know where this little model came from. There's also a nostalgic factor to it. If you are a fan of Foyle's War, my wife and I like to watch it. This car shows up a couple times. It's not the car that Foyle drove in. I think his supervisor rode in it. But my wife and I took a lot of enjoyment out of unpacking the first one that we got of these and sharing some of the memories of the TV show. So it's got the nostalgic factor. It's got the performance factor. Highest speed on this car back in 1938 was 79 miles an hour. And that was pretty respectable. So let's take a look at the model. You know, this is Esval's typical packaging. They do a nice job. The case itself inside is fairly generic, but Esval gives us a nice box. There's a reflective panel on the back of the box, so you can see the entire model from the outside without opening it up if you're of that mind. It comes with there's a little fact page in here, giving some of the background of the car. I'm going to uncover it here, but I'm going to loosen the tape and take the cover off. Now, I know some of you like to take your resin models off of the base. Boy, I've learned a couple lessons on that, and I just don't do it anymore. That photo etching on these things is so fragile. I'm afraid of putting fingerprints. I'm afraid of maybe just putting a little too much pressure on something. So I haven't had that problem with any of the Esvals, but I've had it with some of the other makes. So let's take a closer look at the car. You can see the finish is just impeccable. It's a high gloss finish, almost looks like clear coat. I just really love this. The detail on the running boards is highly picked out. Chrome, little slats, very microscopic almost. The lensing on the headlights and the tail lights is very realistic looking. The grille has some dimensionality to it. The interior is very well picked out and fairly easy to see because it's got a red interior. The little piano hinge on the hood is just a little jewel of reproduction, as are the windshield wipers, and right down to the wheel covers. So it's just a beautiful little car, and I don't think it got the respect it was due when it first came out, and I think it's worth a second look or so. So hope you've enjoyed our time together. If you like this, let me know. I'd like to hear from you.